Okay, so now we're going to look at customs, VAT and excise goods. So let's start by looking at what UK customs processes will look like. As you know, the UK started introducing our border controls at the end of the transition period in stages. So some controls have been in place since the 1st of January and full controls for all goods will be in place on the 1st of July. So we're introducing customs requirement over a period of time. Most traders don't have to make import customs declarations in the UK from the 1st of January. Only if you're importing control goods, for example excise goods, will you be expected to follow full requirements from the 1st of January. And the requirement for safety and security declarations on import, that's entry summary declarations, has been waived for 6 months. UK has joined the Common Transit Convention in its own right as of the 1st of January, and it will be subject to the requirements of the convention. And so from January 2021, EU goods to arrive in the UK under transit do need to complete Office of Transit formalities. We will be using a digital model that automates this process and making very early use of the Goods Vehicle Movement Service, which will support the pre-lodgement model for both imports and exports from July onwards. And I'll talk more about GVMS shortly. Now let's look at UK import requirements between January and July of 2021. So traders who are bringing goods from the EU to the UK need to declare their goods to customs. Be declared in advance of crossing if you're moving through a listed RoRo port or a location that doesn't have existing systems. Now, in order to facilitate readiness, if you're moving non-controlled goods to the UK, you'll be allowed to declare goods by making an entry into your own records. Businesses will need to keep records of their imports and submit this information via a supplementary declaration within 6 months of the import date and pay the required duty through an approved duty deferment account. However, if you're moving controlled goods, such as excise goods, you will need to make a frontier declaration. That can be full, simplified, or a transit declaration, depending on the authorization you have. Now, if the controlled goods are coming in through a location without systems which will allow you to notify HMRC the goods have been imported, you must manually arrive the declaration in HMRC systems, including in the excise movement and control system for excise duty suspended goods, and you need to do that by the end of the working day following the physical crossing. But we won't be requiring you to submit safety and security declarations for imports, nor will we be requiring entry summary declarations for safety and security. Now let's look at entries in declarants' records between January and July. Now there's a lot of information that you will need to keep in those records. This would include the Customs Procedure Code, the declaration's unique consignment reference so that you can identify the consignment in your records, purchase and if available sales invoice numbers, the date and time of entry which creates a tax point which is used for working out VAT, and any temporary admission, warehousing or temporary storage stock account references. You also need the warehouse approval number, a description of the goods so that they and the commodity code can be easily identified, the customs value, the quantity, details of any licensing requirements and the licenses held, and details of any supporting documents. And if you're an agent making a declaration on behalf of someone else, details of the person being represented. Now let's look at export requirements from the UK between January and July. So if you're exporting goods from the UK to the European Union, you will need to submit export declarations for all goods unless you're planning to use simplified procedures. And there's links on this page, on this slide, through to those particular procedures. Traders will be required to submit safety and security information, either through a combined export declaration or through a standalone exit summary declaration. Now, if goods are moving via a non-inventory linked location, the declaration needs to be submitted as arrived while the goods are at the trader's premises, and HMRC will notify the trader automatically whether those goods have permission to progress or whether they need to be taken to a facility for a check. So moving through a location with existing inventory systems, then standard rest of the world export model will be followed. Now, if you're moving excise goods under duty suspense only, if you're moving them through a location that does not have systems to automatically communicate to HMRC that the goods have left the country, you will need to provide that proof to HMRC after the goods have left, proving that they have left the UK. Now, let's look at full UK import controls and what the requirements are. So traders will have to make full customs declaration, or if you're authorised, use simplified procedures at the point of importation on all goods and pay any relevant tariffs. We will also require full safety and security declarations. I've added a link on this slide that takes you to further details on customs. Now, there's several different models that we will follow for import controls. Now, border locations can either use the temporary storage model or the newly developed pre-lodgement model, which has been developed as an alternative for ports that either don't have the space or infrastructure for temporary storage. Temporary storage allows goods to be stored for up to 90 days at an HMRC approved facility before the declaration is made, and HMG carries out any checks before the goods are released from that facility. Pre-lodgement ensures that all declarations are pre-lodged before they board on the EU side, and that's designed to help maintain flow. HMRC is introducing a new IT system called the Goods Vehicle Movement Service that will support the pre-lodgement model for both imports and exports and will help facilitate transit movements. Now let's look at the Goods Vehicle Movement Service in a bit more detail. Now, to achieve full customs control on EU goods from July onwards, recognising the practical realities of high volume EU facing location with limited space, we're introducing this new system called the Goods Vehicle Movement Service, which will support pre-lodgement models for both imports and exports and facilitating transport movements. By July of 2021, it will allow us to enable declaration references to be linked together, which means that the person moving the goods only has to present one single reference, a GMR, at the frontier to prove the goods have pre-lodged all the necessary declarations. It will allow linking of the movement of goods to declarations, enabling automatic arrival and departure where applicable of goods in HMRC systems so that goods can be processed while they are en route. It will automate the Office of Transit function, and it will allow notification of existing outcome of declarations, i.e. they're cleared or uncleared in HMRC systems, to be sent to the person who controls the goods so that they arrive by the time the goods are physically in the UK so they know where they need to proceed. GVMS is also available for use as a digital Office of Transit for goods imported into GB from the 1st of January. Now, I've added a little graphic here which shows exactly how imports will work from the 1st of July. So, at the start of the process, you generate a goods movement record for each vehicle from within GVMS and populate this with the unique reference details for various customs declarations, be it import, safety and security, CTC and transit. You then need to validate the GMR, which triggers the automatic arrival or completes the Office of Transit function by sending the GMR to HMG. And you need to independently capture or verify the vehicle registration number, trailer or container registration number. Risking is carried out by HMG on declarations, and a status update notification will be sent to the person in control of the goods before they arrive. Let's look at GVMS for exports from the 1st of July. And you can see it is a similar process. So you will generate a goods movement reference for each vehicle from within GVMS and populate that with the following information. So export paperwork, CTC or transit, and for Ro-Ro movements, you'll need to await for permission to progress before you proceed to the port of departure. Validation of the GMR will trigger the arrival process and automated departure, and it will independently capture or verify the vehicle's registration number, trailer or container registration. And then you will receive notification that the goods have departed. Let's look at VAT and excise. Now, the government's announced that from the 1st of January of this year, postponed VAT accounting will be applicable to VAT registered businesses for imports of goods from all countries, including from the European Union. And this allows you to account for VAT on the goods you import through periodic VAT returns rather than pay at or soon after crossing the UK border. From the 1st of January onwards, the rest of the world rules apply to imports and exports of excise goods moving between the UK and the EU. Businesses will need to complete customs import and export declarations using the relevant codes for duty paid or suspended goods. And if you're moving duty suspended excise goods to or from a tax warehouse, in the place they enter or exit the UK, you must use the UK's version of the Excise Movement and Control System, UKECS, and that must also be used to move duty suspended excise goods between one UK warehouse to another UK warehouse. Now let's take a look at the Common Transit Convention. As I mentioned, the UK has successfully negotiated membership in our own right of the CTC from the start of 2021. It's a customs facilitation that allows the movements of goods under duty suspense between EU member states, European Free Trade Association countries, that's Iceland, Norway, Switzerland and Liechtenstein, and also Turkey and republics of North Macedonia and Serbia. It's a streamlined customs facilitation. It allows for the free movement of goods across international borders and enables you to move customs formalities away from the border and suspend duty until goods reach their end destination. Traders need to scan a transit accompanying document at a transit office at the point of entry into a new customs territory. Now for imports, that will be the UK border, and for exports, it will be at the border of the European Union, which of course is now a separate customs territory. CTC provides cash flow benefits to businesses and it aids trade flow at points of entry, and it reduces the administrative burdens by removing the need for additional import and export declarations when you move across multiple customs territories. And there is a list of UK offices where movements under the community and the common transit procedures can start and end in the UK. That is on gov.uk, and I've added a link on this slide. There are some additional facilitations to trade, which I'm going to talk us through now. So the Authorised Economic Operator, or AEO status, is an internationally recognised quality mark. It shows your business's role in the international supply chain is secure and that you've got customs control procedures that meet both the UK and EU standards. And you can apply for either AEOC or AEOS, customs simplification, or you can apply for both. Now, if you've got customs simplification status, you could benefit from faster application processes for simplifications and authorisations, a reduction or a waiver of guarantees, a 70% reduction in a business's deferment account guarantee, notification waivers when making entries into declarants records, you can move goods in temporary storage between different member states, your consignments get priority treatment from controls at customs, and a lower risk score, which might reduce the number of checks that customs carry out. AEOS for safety and security status gives the benefits of having a lower risk score, reducing the number of checks, consignments receive priority treatment, and there's reduced declaration requirements for entry and exit summary declarations for countries outside the UK and the EU. And there are reciprocal arrangements and mutual recognition with countries outside the EU. Now, to apply for AEO, you must be a legal entity, you must be established in the UK or in an EU member state and be actively involved in customs operations and international trade, and you will need an EORI number. Anyone involved in the international supply chain carrying out customs activities in the UK or EU can apply for AEO status regardless of the size of your business, and it would include manufacturers, exporters, freight forwarders, warehouse keepers, customs agents, port operators, and a range of other businesses. And it's important to note that you're still eligible to apply if you use the services of an agent for your customs matters.